Hey everybody, how's it going? And welcome to another MAMG Let's Play of Analogue, a hate story. When we left off, we learned about the Pale Bride, and we're on this spaceship digging through these archives, and it's actually really interesting. I can't believe that I'm so invested. I'm only 10% into the game, so apparently it's a lot longer than I thought it was, but it's fine. I'm already curious and I want to know what happens. But up here, I was looking, and this is on the opening screen as well. It says, if possible, speak to the security AI mute for assistance, which is not who we're talking to. So that's a little interesting that we're talking to a different AI than what they wanted us to do. Okay, let's go ahead and change her clothes, because I think there were a few that we liked. Do we want to make her a scientist? I think we'll make her a scientist for now. I think that's fine. And then I'll try to change it from episode to episode, maybe. Hopefully. Okay, anyway, so now she's a scientist, and we are good. We're gonna go ahead and step out of here, and she looks adorable. Okay, so what do we need to do now? So, there's probably one big question that's on your mind, isn't there? That isn't being addressed at all, right? What happened in between you being frozen and waking up that made society go all wrong, right? Yeah, I'm curious. I figured. I mean, it's the obvious question. Obviously. Sorry, I wish I could tell you, but I'm afraid that mystery is forever lost to time. I guess that's pretty anticlimactic. Sorry. I really want to know too. Whatever terrible thing happened, it must have been really, really big. But I'm afraid all the log data from before the year 1 was wiped, and all the clocks were reset. I guess that's why it was called Year 1. Anyway, so nobody remembered what happened in between, or even how long it was in between. It was hundreds of years, I assume, but I really don't know. So, yeah, really sorry to let you down there, and that part's gonna be a mystery forever. There's nobody who could possibly know. You'll just have to take it as a given. Sorry. That's okay. Talk to her again? So, what can I do for you? I don't know. Okay, recent messages. Which is fine. I don't really need recent messages. Access log documents. Okay, so it said to use mute, but I don't know if we need to do that. But there was one that was actually written by mute, right? Where was it? Where does it? Right here, Miss Dear Smith. Can we ask her about mute? So what can I do for you? Apparently not. Okay. Then I guess we need to go back to block 3 for now and see if I can uncover anything there. So we have Oh So-jin and Smith Sangmin, which I'm sure I'm butchering the names. I don't remember the pronunciation thing it was telling me. Apparently I can't even pronounce English very well. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. Of course, I'm an idiot. I need to click on show message. It's been a while. So you're interested in the Smiths then? Oh, very well. This is pretty much all new to me too, actually. I hadn't really ever read much of anything from their house, certainly not from her. So, just out of curiosity, what do you make of her as a new bride? She seems sweet. Yeah, I think so too. It's really cute. It, sadly, doesn't really seem to last. It looks like her marriage was, well, oh jeez. It's not quite as bad as mine was, but I really don't envy her. Poor woman. Well, if you're interested in learning more, I've put together a family tree of the Smith family, which should help you keep track of them. I'm less certain about this one, since, you know, not my family and all. Anyway, I've given you a family tree, and you should just go ahead and show me who you'd like to hear more about. We can go over the logs together. Oh, okay. Oh, so there's different ones. Nice. Gotcha. Okay. So let me go back with the mute thing then, because I didn't do mute properly. I needed to do the show message. That's just if I get a message from her. Oh, I already looked at this. I'm an idiot. I thought the star minute was new for some reason. I need to get my life together. Okay, Let's try this again one more time, shall we? Access the log documents. And mute was... where? There. Okay, so this one. And then show her this message. Oh, written by mute? Whoops, I'm sorry. I don't really know how that got in there. Yeah, don't pay attention to that. Sorry, none of that really matters. I'll just go ahead and remove that. That's really suspicious. Really, I'm not normally this much of a klutz, I swear. So she just got rid of it? Okay, you know what? We're gonna dig a little bit deeper because I know that we can, like, that AI is supposed to be the one that helps us. Let's see what happens if we change the AI. Okay, so not hello or helo. Okay, so mute is activated. Okay. Let's see what happens. Whoa. Okay. What the hell is going on? Wait, remote connection established. Is there somebody out there? From outside the ship. Okay, sorry, I'm just taking inventory systems right now. Could you give me a second here? Like, I've been out of commission for 622 years? Right, that's kind of messed up. Anyway, I'm up to speed now. Logs are basically saying that nothing has happened since I went offline, except the ship's slowly losing power, and the main reactor has seen better days. But you, hello, you're the first person from outside the ship I've had contact with in, well, as far as I can remember. I'm Mute, the AI in charge of Mugunghwa's security operations. It's nice to meet you. Okay, looks like I can't actually get any text input from you. I'm guessing this is all that crazy murderess's fault. I'm sorry. Murderess? But why don't you tell me a bit about yourself anyway? Like, sorry, this is kind of a weird question, but are you a man or a woman? I'm a man. Gotcha, sir. That's good to know. Do you have any idea how hard it is to talk to someone when you don't even know that much about them? So where are you from? Earth or from one of the colonies? Wait, there are colonies, right? I mean, I always got the impression that this ship was supposed to be founding one. Sure. Oh, okay. So you're from one of them or Earth? Earth. Cool. I wish I could ask you what it's like. I think I'm from there too, but, well, my memory only goes back 300 years before being deactivated. Pretty much all my knowledge of anything before the year 0 comes secondhand from the Pale Bride's childhood diaries, and, well, man, they're about as childish as it possibly gets. Guess I'm not really gonna find out more with that line of questioning, though. Right. Okay. What else is important that I can ask in binary questions? Oh, I know. So are you married yet? I am not. Ah, fair enough. Related to that, I, don't really know much about spaceships or anything, but I can get a visual on yours, and it looks really, really small. Is it just you all alone there? Yes. A man in the middle of space, all on his own. Sounds awfully romantic. Well, I think that's about all I can think of for now. Sorry, it's not really a lot to go off of, I know. Although, I guess I did get the most important things. I'll let you know if, I think of anything else, alright? Anyway, from what it looks like, you were going over some logs with that crazy murderess. Why is she so mean to her? I'd love to help you with those instead. As an added bonus, I won't ever commit mass murder, unlike a certain someone. What do you mean, mass murder? Okay, so what is it that you want to know about? Why don't you show me something and I'll see if I can find it for you, okay? Weird. This says it's new. Okay, so the Smith family tree. Well, I think that speaks for itself, doesn't it? That's what a genealogy is supposed to look like. Hope that's more helpful. Thanks, Mute. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's go up. A cliche to remember. What about this? Okay, yeah, no. Abased? Seriously? What a complete and utter misrepresentation. In case it wasn't obvious, that's a completely liberal and messed up translation. Yes, it's a common phrase, but that's not what it means. What it really means is male superiority. That's all. Fine, it's a cliche that kind of states the obvious, so what? I don't know where she's pulling this women are a base nonsense from. It's stupid. So, we've got two AIs to interact with, and they're going to give us very different reactions and responses. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know what I want to ask her, though. This is weird. Okay. So, block 3 was the most recent block that we opened, and I asked her about the Smith family. But this one is different. Okay, let's show her this one. That's actually from before I knew her. It's pretty hard to imagine her as a blushing newlywed, honestly. She is an awfully good friend of mine. We chatted a lot. You have to understand though, she might not have been a very good wife. It's absolutely not her fault. It's like what I reported to my mistress, Ryu Jaehwa. None of the problems in her marriage were her own fault. She was just the wife of a lousy man, plain and simple. Mostly, she tried to do the best she could. She was a really great woman, so please don't look down on her, okay? Okay. So these are all by Osojian. Okay, Smith. What about Smith? High Magistrate Smith Sang-min, huh? Well, as High Magistrate, he was one of the highest ranking officials until just before the end. I don't want to paint a misleading portrait. As I understand, he was a very just man and performed his function quite well. It was politics that caught up to him in the end. It's like I reported to my mistress, Ryu Jaehwa. He might have had a good magistrate, but his family conduct was less than the pinnacle of virtue. How many wives a man takes is no business but his own, and he never did anything illegal. But knocking up courtesans owned by the court? Man, that's just bad politics. So, that's why he lost his position. Years of embarrassment in the family finally culminated in him turning into a real liability for the emperor. But it always wasn't like that. Here, let me try to paint an even portrait of him for you. I've added an assortment of logs about him. I hope this gives a good idea of what I mean. Okay? Let's see what you got. Okay. A proper gentleman. What is this? A transcription fragment of a conversation held with Smith Sang-jung. Oh, that was how I knew it had gotten serious. He actually agreed to let me pick the drinking house we went to. My oldest brother only ever humors me when he's really trying to get on my good side, which is never a good sign. Well, I mean, it's good for me, but certainly not for him. I'm sure a classy lady such as yourself would be familiar with this kind of place. Haha, no. You know the sort, tucked away in an interior deck, lots of wood furniture that's been stained, and not intentionally, with just enough commoners milling about to give a good background soundtrack. Oh, and it's run by a woman. Nice lady too, so it's that sort of place. We arranged to meet up at the door. It's been a while, brother. I'm sorry I couldn't speak with you sooner, he said, trying to be polite. You're full of it, I said, but hey, it's good to see you. So what do you want? I meant it, he said. He's a bad liar. So why here anyway? At that point, the owner came by, asking what we'd like. The only real thing you need to know is that Jin-A is, she's around my age, and she's got the biggest, really, that I've ever seen in my life and dresses like a commoner. Sure, whatever, okay. So you can certainly see them. Oh, he said, fair enough. Bring your finest soju, I ordered. Please, she responded. You can't afford our finest. Totally not true. By the way, my reputation for being a cheap drunk? Completely unfounded. Honest, I have no idea where people get these crazy ideas from. Anyway, far be it from me to argue, I just reply, maybe not, but my brother can. So you can't afford it. You would stand up for yourself if you could. I mean, I knew he was gonna ask me for money. That was obvious. Might as well get as much as I could out of him before giving him whatever he wanted, right? Fine, we'll be sharing that, he added, and then said, but how much to share it with you too? She blushed. Amazing, really. She's got a lot of practice dealing with people like my brother. but I saved her the misery of having to flip back with him. Do you really need more of that kind of trouble right now? With that, he let her go. Anyway, drinks came. We argued about the loose definition of finest, our surface breasts, and the good old days when father was still alive and we didn't have to work out our problems ourselves. The biggest crap ever is that we're expected to be responsible men here. How'd that happen? He laughed. And now, was drunk enough to start taking cheap shots. Is that why you've never bothered to be one? Ouch, I said. Come on, hurry up and pour me more. I'll drink to that. He poured but didn't say anything. Alright, so what is it you want? I'm getting the impression that you have a problem and you want discretion because you're talking to me. Right, brother? I was right. So where did you put it this time, brother? I asked. Put what? He replied. Oh, cut it out, I said. We both know full well that all your problems in life have always, without fail, stemmed from you putting it somewhere you shouldn't have. He grunted in disagreement, but it's totally true. Was it at least a female this time? Swear to my father. Brother was right about the punch me. Didn't though. Instead, he just downed his drink. Yeah, that's the problem, he said. She's saying she hasn't bled in 2 months now. A courtesan. I promised him I'd help. But better she gets bought out by me than by my brother, the High Magistrate. Less suspicious that way and involves nothing unlawful. Believes me now? Proper gentleman. That's me. What a crazy person. Well, this is what I told him at the time. I could have maybe, you know, done without the description of her breasts. But that kind of story was definitely pretty common for him. The part where he cleaned up after his family's mess, I mean. Not the details about immoral looking common women. And, well, the drinking too. But look, that part he had a good cause for. Sure, it was his ruin, but you can't blame him for that. I mean, the stuff he had to put up with. If you'd had it like that, I'm sure you'd do the same. It wasn't all that bad, really. We'd spend a lot of evenings drinking together, talking long into the night. Well, he would anyway. Obviously not really so much drinking on my part. But he was the kind of man who'd still pour a glass for you all the same. So, that whole sarcastic thing about him being a proper gentleman? It's not sarcastic. He really was. Well, he was being sarcastic, but still. He totally, absolutely was the best gentleman around. So Mute has high regards for this person with Smith. Okay, there's another one, right? Yeah, legendary temper. I've been a clerk for a while, and it's not as if I haven't heard all the stories about High Magistrate Smith Sangman and his legendary temper. But I always figured they were an exaggeration, especially after I met him for the first time. The man seemed like an absolute model of a gentleman, and rather calm and unemotional. I'm not criticizing him, I just never imagined that man getting angry. It was while an official was presenting the facts of a murder case to him, a drunken brawl between peasants gone horribly wrong. It all seemed satisfactory enough. A dozen men had seen it, and there wasn't really any doubt about it. So far, so good. Very well, the High Magistrate said. Let me read the confession, then, before I pass a sentence. The official didn't have one, which is reasonable enough. A lot of times they can't get it out of them, and I've never seen a magistrate who was really all too concerned about these little details. Excuse me? You don't have a confession, he said, and his mood soured right there. Why are you wasting my time then? He looked at the accused, who had been kowtowing silently up until that point. Do you even admit to killing him? The murderer seemed confused, and it took a minute to realize he was being addressed. Furthermore, when he did figure it out, he simply kept bumbling. Not my fault, wasn't my fault, and the such. The High Magistrate was furious. What's wrong with you? What is this man doing in front of me in a state like that? He doesn't admit to doing it. What do you expect me to do? He demanded. After some silence from the official, he continued. It wasn't a rhetorical question. Please, enlighten me. What did you expect me to do here? To punish him? The official finally offered, weakly, as confused about the matter as I was. Punish him? This is what set him completely off the edge. He stood up, shouting, "We are not given the responsibility of punishment. What are we, barbarians looking for vengeance? The point of justice is to teach immoral men like him the error of their ways." He lectured, shouting at the top of his lungs. And how do you expect to do that with a man who won't even admit his own actions? Does this man look like he's ready to learn? Do you seriously believe that? Are you simple? The official looked as though he was about to argue, but then thought against it. Smart move. The High Magistrate continued more calmly. Now stop wasting my time and get him out of my office. Come back when you have a confession and a clue as to what your job actually entails. And with that, he left, leaving the official speechless, and leaving me realizing that perhaps a legendary temper and being a model gentleman weren't quite so mutually exclusive as I thought. Okay? See, he wasn't always that bad. He was an embarrassment and far from the pinnacle of virtue. I didn't think that highly of him, but at the end of the day, it was about politics, not about his character. True? Okay. So, do we need to be talking about Mute, or do we need to be talking about Smith? Here's some more about Smith. Okay, this is good. This is good. We're going somewhere. Okay. Oh, dearest brother of mine. As I'm sure you know, it's been 3 years since my husband died. I still mourn him in my heart, of course, and I'm sure I will forever. But the official mourning period is over. You probably know that the Huang family isn't doing very well right now. Terribly, in fact. And it only got worse when my husband died. It didn't help that we only had daughters, so I don't exactly have a son to look after me. Right now, I'm completely at the mercy of his parents. And, well, as I said, no son. They only took me in because of that big dowry. They sure never liked me, and it's only gotten worse. Way worse. So I need you to help me out, Min. Or they're going to just abandon me. Do you remember that story we read together as a child? About the widow who had to turn to begging. I'm sure you remember how it ended. Well, that's going to be me at this rate. Don't worry though, I have a plan. I've talked to my husband's brother about this, and I've also managed to discreetly fish some information out of his parents. They'd be willing to let me get married to him, and all you need to do is chip in a new dowry. 1.5 times the old one would be enough. Please respond as soon as possible, little brother, because I really need your help here. Love, Sanghi. Anything? Okay. So that's the same. I guess I don't need to show her every single one then. That's what I was wondering if I should do. Sister Sanghi. Calm down. They may not be nice, but I'm sure they're not going to kick their son's widow out on the street. Do you have any idea how terrible that would look for them? It would be a huge disgrace on their name. As for remarrying, I'm sorry, but that's a lot of money you're asking. Besides, you know how much remarriage is looked down upon. Chaste widowhood may be a difficult standard to hold yourself to, but you would be honored forever if you could manage it. And if anyone is good enough to live up to that standard, it's you, big sister. I wish I could give you an easier way out, but I hope you realize it's for the best that way. Really? Okay. Oh, generous and benevolent young brother of mine. I can't read today, I'm sorry. This game has a lot of reading, which, again, I know it's a little bit excessive, but I like it, and hopefully you guys do too. Be sure to check out the game though, if you want to play it, because I think there's a bunch of different endings, and I have no idea what kind of ending I'm gonna get. Anyways, I know you think I'm being hysterical and exaggerating. I'm not, I promise. It's funny you mentioned the importance of chaste widowhood, because they're talking about that too. Of course, I don't think you've got the same ideas in mind. They're talking about the sort that ends in an honorable suicide. Actually, they've been talking a lot about it. They want you to kill yourself? We could, of course, go with that option. Take my own life to honor his memory. Would you like to help me out with that? Oh man, I'm not really good at either holding knives or tying nooses since arthritis got serious. But if you could help me out, that plan could work. If you're too busy to help your sister kill herself though, you could just send the next best thing and send that dowry. I'm sure somehow you'll manage to figure out a way to find the money. I have faith in you, little brother. Remind you again, of course, that appealing to that family honor is a waste of time. Father remarried me to a merchant, remember? You're talking about honor, but trust me, I lived in this house for over 2 decades and I've looked everywhere, even under the sitting cushions. They just don't have any. So I'm going to ask you once more, little brother. You can send, either send a new dowry, or failing that, come by with a nice sharp knife. But if you can't bring yourself to do at least one of those things, then my destitution is on your head. Do you think father would be proud of that? You are the son, you tell me. With love, young sister Sanghi. Wow. Sister, you're going to be the death of me, but I won't be the death of you. Fine, I'll figure something out. Tell his parents that I can offer them as much as the old dowry. I'll send the messenger by next week to work out the delivery of it. You're such a woman. Do you know that? Manipulative to the core. That's what you are. The death of me. I swear. Wow. Okay, interesting. Is there anything else that's new? Doesn't look like it. Okay. So what should we do now? We got some information, but I don't see anything here. So I guess we'll go ahead and switch AIs and see what she has to say now. Hyun A. Okay. Did I misspell it? Oh, I didn't do that. Okay. I didn't do it right. Sorry. There we go. I'm curious to see what she's gonna say now that I've switched over. Nothing. Does she not know? What happens when you switch the AIs? Are they aware of that fact or not? Okay. Let me see, like, if I do something like this and then show it to her. I'm really sorry. Please don't get mad, but I don't understand what you're looking for. Maybe I'm just not getting it and it's my fault, but I can't find anything that seems relevant. Sorry. That's okay. You don't have to beat yourself up about it. Is there anything here? Nope. Okay. I was wondering because, like, it's grayed out now, but it wasn't grayed out to begin with. So I thought maybe, like, that's a hint, but apparently not. Okay, so I need to dig a little bit deeper somewhere. I just don't know where I should look. I didn't ask her about this cliche though. Really, that's just something you need to keep in mind when reading these logs. It was considered to be the natural way of things. Well, what do you think? Stupid. I know, right? Just absolutely terrible and stupid, but that was normal. So try and keep that in mind. That's what everyone really did believe, even nearly all the women. And if that sounds terrible to you, you must come from an awfully nicer society. So is Mute referring to Hyun-A as a murderer? Because I really wish I could find out more about that, but I don't, like, I think I need to go back and forth between the two of them. What about Sojin? Did we ask her about Sojin? Here, I'll cut right to the, I was gonna say the interesting part, but that's kind of awful, isn't it? I mean, given we're talking about a real person's life here, jeez, this is a bit uncomfortable. The poor girl goes from being cute and excited to, well, what I mean is she got jaded really quickly. Her family situation sounds like a really awkward arrangement. I'll show you what I mean. Let me know what you think after you've read that. Okay? Let's see the new ones. Is it block 3? New? Where is it? Was this one new? I'm so confused now. I don't know if I read this one or not. I think this one's new, so let me go ahead and read it. If I've read it again, or if I've read it already, sorry. For the past 2 months, ever since it became impossible to hide that she was with a child, Jiangmi has been living in our house and no visitors have been allowed to come in. It was created an incredibly awkward state of affairs. I can hardly stand to be in the same room with that courtesan, let alone live with her. Until recently, so few words have we exchanged. I did not even know her name until the 3rd week of living here. My husband made me agree to go along with the fiction that the child is actually mine, which, well, I've yet to give him one myself, So that is how I am to make up for it. Then that is what I'll do. I thought it was going to be hard to keep up that pretense, to pretend this child is my own, while the real mother lives under the same roof, yet apparently not. As it turns out, the whole charade has been for absolutely nothing. After all that, the child turned out to be a girl. Of course, I'm sure Jiangmi is quite happy, since she's already been bought out, in the hopes that we could pretend her son was mine. But an illegitimate daughter? Well, who cares? Harsh. It would be almost funny if not for the fact that it means I would have to live with that constant reminder of how little my husband cares for me. Almost, but not really. So, High Magistrate Smith Sangmin, huh? This man is just, wow. He's a real piece of work. He could just not keep his pants on, it seems. I mean, neglecting his wife so that he could get a courtesan pregnant? Wow, what kind of man does that? Please tell me you feel the same. I mean, like, from that perspective, yeah, we know that he's not a terrible person completely because of what Mute has shown us, but that aspect of just running around getting people pregnant, not cool. I know, right? The idea of a woman living only for her man is awful. Just awful. But there's one way to make that worse, for the man to just ignore her entirely. Can you imagine living like that? Just being kept away in the women's quarters with nobody to care about you in any way. I don't think her marriage was worse than mine, but at least I had something. And I didn't have to worry about scandals that were gonna blow up in my family's face. There's one thing that's good about being the Emperor's consort, I guess. So, all he ever paid attention to was women who weren't his wife, and all of his assorted business. Here, I'll show you what all that is. Looking at this, it feels like he spent more time with his brothers than his wife. Okay. So with her, it doesn't look like it shows you when they're new, but with Mute, it did. Okay. I'm trying to remember which ones I've already read, sorry. Read those. The Month of Good Fortune? Did I read that? I think I have. Yeah, I've read that before. But maybe I should go ahead and look and see what else I can find out here. Oh, Do you want more from Kim Young-suk's wife? Or do you want the reply from her mother? Her mother. Let's see what her mother said. Sorry, I'm afraid I don't have anything. I can explain why if you want, yeah. You have to understand something. It's traditional for women's letters to be deleted after being read, so the disk space can be reallocated. Harsh! Women weren't really supposed to read or write. Certainly the nobles did. It's just the idea was spending time on education got in the way of important virtues for women, which is serving her husband. So in practice, even if a woman was literate, she could at least excuse it by destroying her words afterwards. It's less pretentious if at least the writing wasn't permanent. Does that sound reasonable to you? No, that's stupid. Yes. Yes, it is. But that's how it is. But regardless, Kim Young-suk's wife definitely was considered a virtuous woman, so I have none of her letters that she received. So I'm sorry, I can't give you anything there. Okay, can we get more from her then? Yeah, from her. Very well, I can give you a couple from his wife. Here you are. Thank you. Young-suk's wife. Here we go. Yeah, they are new. I don't know what's going on. Okay. My new wife moved in last week. That sounds so bad. My new wife? And she's been pestering me ever since. Everywhere I go in the house, she's either following me or waiting outside the door. The first time it happened, it unnerved me like nobody would believe. The most recent time, I stopped being unnerved and moved on to just plain annoyed. I only had one thought. Why won't the silly girl just give me some space? No wonder her parents were so anxious to send her to our home. Hours before, she'd been hanging around in the room. I finally kicked her out when my mathematics tutor arrived. The session went on without any hitch, aside from reminding me just how much I hated the subject. And after a few hours, he left. And who's kneeling right outside my door? It's her, of course. Have you been here the whole time? I asked her. Of course she had. For the love of... we need to talk. So, I brought her back in and sat her down at the desk. What? What is this? You're driving me insane. I don't have the time to be babysitting you constantly, I said. I wasn't angry, just annoyed. But she looked alarmed all the same. For a moment, I was worried she was going to start crying. Instead, she just turned her head away. Do you hate me? She asked. Women. Why must they be so emotional? I reminded myself that I was talking to a female. I needed to approach this differently. Look, I said, you're very pretty. I appreciate that you're trying, so no, of course I don't hate you. She looked back at me, seeming like she was holding back tears. Then why don't you need me for anything? Is there nothing I can do for you? No, not unless you can help me study the classics. She looked down. Right now, nothing is more important to me than passing the civil service exam. Can you even read? A little, she said. A little isn't enough, I replied. What if I sat in on your lessons? I could learn more. I'd be quiet, of course. Please. I was about to say no, then I changed my mind and agreed. When I heard her next line, at least give me a chance to earn your approval. Please. Okay. Dearest mother, it seems as though there will be a new girl in the family. I really don't understand the details, but her name is the Pale Bride. And it seems as though she's a 13-year-old girl who had been kept inside a giant egg through some sort of magical technology, passed through the Kim family over the generations. As I said, I don't understand how such a thing is possible, but she seems nice enough. You're not gonna like her though. Young Suk seems quite annoyed at her arrival, however. He explained to me why. The plans to offer her as a concubine to the Emperor. She's young and beautiful, and he's still without a son, so it'll probably go a long way in currying favor. And that's bad? I asked him. Not strictly, he admitted, but it seems father doesn't have much faith in me. If he's making contingency plans, that doesn't require my involvement. Now I'll never know if my success was of my own merits, or because the Emperor thinks the girl he'll like, thinks the girl he'll give him is cute. Wow. Did you even tell him your plan of working on your way to becoming High Magistrate? If he knows that, how can he think contingency is necessary, I asked. Good question, he said, and left the room looking annoyed. To this date, these worries of his still seem to plague him, and I can't seem to do anything to relieve him of that. That's how it always seemed to go. It always comes back to me. I don't think Kim Jung-soo ever thought very much of his adopted son, or at least neither he nor his wife thought so. You want to know what I think though? Definitely. I think they're both really dumb. I mean, it's not like I ever did anything. It's not my fault. I just happened to be there and was married off as a political gesture. It's not even like I wanted to. What kind of person projects their insecurities onto someone who only just ever got pushed around? Sorry, I'm guessing I'm getting a little bit off track. That's not very helpful, is it? No, it's helpful. Well, anyway, getting back on track here. Okay. It's such an interesting, like, drama to this. Okay, so what about this? This was from Mute. Smith Sang-jung. I don't really know how to feel about him. I don't know. It doesn't really sound like anyone thought he was a very good person. It looks like he never married or anything, and I guess he was friends with Mute? Well, that doesn't surprise me. He just seems weird. Like, it sounds like Sojin was kind of put off by him, and I don't really blame her. I don't know. I have no idea how to judge him. See for yourself, I guess. I've added a few more things about him. Alright, let's judge him a little bit and see if we can find anything. Visit from Sang-jung. My husband was out of the house, as he usually is during the day, so our servant fetched me instead to tell me that someone was at the door. I was in the middle of a conversation with Mute, but I had no idea how I was expected to respond to that. What do? I asked her. She just responded in that usual shocking crass manner of hers. Gee, I don't know. You could try answering the door maybe? Just a thought, of course. So I excused her and went to do that, but with a great degree of nervousness. I'd never done this before. At the door was my youngest brother-in-law, Sang-jung, who I met only a couple times before, although husband mentioned him often enough, usually in the same breath as calling him an irresponsible drunk. Seeing him did nothing short of compound my anxieties. Hello, sir, I stammered. Sojin, he responds, with unbelievable volume. It's great to see you again. Hope you don't mind my dropping by unannounced. I just figured, I haven't seen my new niece yet, and it's been forever since I've been in the old house, so, well, I thought I'd stop by and say hello to your daughter. I don't know. Sorry, my husband isn't home right now. Maybe you should come back later, I said, shifting uncomfortably. Oh, please, be a good girl. Let me come see her. I'm not really here for your husband. This was awkward. I didn't really want to turn away my brother-in-law, especially if he just wanted to see baby Minhee, but this was hardly proper. It really wouldn't be my place. Sorry. You'll have to wait until my husband gets back. I trailed off. He rolled his eyes and then smiled at me. Really? Come now. You're a smarter woman than that, he said, and he put his hand on my shoulder. This had now moved on to incredibly uncomfortable. You really value his authority that much? He's my husband, I responded. What else could I say? He replied, wow, no wonder he walks all over you. If that's how you treat him, you have got to learn about dealing with men, dear Sojin, especially my brother. But come on now. This is a bad conversation for a doorway. Can't I see my niece? I hear she's rather adorable. I took a deep breath. I'm sorry, I said, trying to be as bold as I could. I'm going to have to go now. Sorry. I started to close the door on him. Alright, I understand. I'll talk to him myself later. Don't worry. I won't mention this visit. Do say hello to her mother for me though, he said, and left. My heart nearly skipped a beat when he said those words. I stood there in the doorway for a good while, stunned. Even now, I still have so much to think about. Not simply his knowledge of our child's true mother, a matter of great secrecy, but also what he said about my husband. Perhaps his words were true. Okay. And one more. Drank himself to death. As horrible as it is to say, I don't think anyone was really surprised when brother-in-law Sang-jung was found dead. Nobody asked how, nor has anyone so much as mentioned the word drinking in my present sense. Even the ordinarily extremely candid Mute has been entirely somber. Mother-in-law, I understand why she's taking it so hard, and, what? Mother-in-law, anyways, and I've been working, sorry, I saw that dash and then saw the dash here, and I was like, for some reason, my reading abilities are shot today. Maybe I should keep this a shorter episode. Let's see, I've been working hard to stay out of her way while the funeral preparations are being settled, but Mute? I have no idea why they were so close. Yet in our last conversation, I could have sworn she was on the verge of tears. I had never seen such a reaction from her in all my time here. As for myself, I have an awful confession I can make to no one. I have put on a somber face, acting as though I'm expected, as I'm sad as the rest, since that is, of course, what is expected. But it pains me to admit that I am not. It's not as if I don't find it tragic, and I feel bad for thinking this. But I didn't know him at all. How could I possibly bring myself to feel upset as I'm expected to be? Okay, so let's see. That's all we have for here for block 3. Haven't had any new messages yet. Should we go back home? Okay, nothing here, so let's go ahead and go to Mute. Because, I mean, apparently they don't know when you switch. Not quite quit. Okay, speak with Mute, yes. Well, you've seen most everything about the Smith family now, except the most scandalous stuff. I'm sort of wondering what you think of their fall. She's close with them, right? So we don't want to make her mad. It shouldn't have happened. Yeah, I know, but after Sang-jung died, well, with him gone, it's no surprise things fell apart. Anyway, regardless of whether you think it should have happened or not, it was a pretty terrible thing that happened to what used to be the greatest noble family. And certainly, they didn't deserve to be first brought down by the Kim family, then murdered by the Kim daughter. Maybe I don't want to say that Sang Jung was lucky. That's not true. If he was around, maybe things would have turned out better. He always had a way of making things perfect. Still, I'd rather he be killed by his own habit than by that girl. He deserved better than what he got out, but it would have gotten worse if not for that, is what I'm saying. I hadn't really thought about it that way before. Really, were he around, that's totally what he'd say. Practically imagine his voice even. The drink will inevitably kill you, and women will inevitably kill you. So I'd rather take one that isn't always bitter, or something like that. Yeah. Well anyway, that's enough of all that. Would you like to see some more scandalous stuff in the Smith family now? Yes please. Okay then. Oh, you're going to absolutely love this. It's really, really hot. Unfortunately, it probably doesn't go into as much detail as you'd like, but, well, wow. Just see it for yourself. Okay. Block 2. Okay. Unsent letter. When I first saw you bringing my husband home in the late hours of the night, I was jealous. All I could think of was my daughter and the first courtesan he'd had an affair with 9 years ago. With every brief glimpse of you that I saw as you passed through our home, my heart burned a little, as if you embodied every single fault of my farce of a marriage. I will never send this letter, because I know how ridiculous it sounds. For weeks, I, a noble wife, could be jealous of a poor courtesan. But you are young and beautiful, full of energy and grace. I am none of these things. Only after you had been entertaining him for a month did I start to realize what I was really feeling. True, I was jealous, but not of you, for having my husband. I was jealous of my husband for having the affections of a girl as pretty as you. These are such ridiculous thoughts for a woman to have. I know, and even more ridiculous still is the way they have overwhelmed me. I used to dread my husband bringing his courtesans home with him. Now I look forward to your nights together. How could I not, when it means that I am treated to the sight of your bashful face in the morning? When we exchange glances, you hide behind your long hair, with so much cuteness and grace. My eyes can't help but wander, to admire the way it rests on your breast, to see your clothes draped loosely over your hips. I cannot help myself from admiring your body as you try to hide from me. She's falling in love with the courtesan. It is ridiculous to be preoccupied with such thoughts, and perhaps I was better off not having realized them. Nevertheless, even though I may be such a woman as you are, I find myself longing the same affections you shower my husband with. There is more to it than that. I would like to truly get to know you better. I like to imagine that we have much in common, aside from the obvious. When I see you hiding in the corridor on those mornings, I imagine wrapping my own arms around those lovely hips, sharing long conversations about our tribulations in life, discovering just how much alike we are, and perhaps I would like to imagine we could share more than that. I have been married for 10 years to a man who has never paid me attention for 9 of them. Perhaps my old age has made me bold, but I want more. The next time I see you, I promise I will say something. For in all my 26 years, I've never felt a longing for anything this intensely. I don't care how wrong it is. As a wife and a woman, I want you, Hana. Okay. Hang on, so Hana had something here too. My art is that of lies and lying, and both I have much practice. I've said to men I love you falsely. I've suffered pain but smiled in pleasure. But the hardest lie I've ever told was that I could live without you. Man, how's that for verse? Really, it's not the translation, I assure you. It's not exactly any better in the original Korean. Can you believe that was actually written by somebody who'd studied poetry for years? Seriously. I'm not gonna judge somebody. Maybe not for what it is. Maybe you might find it successful at being arousing. That's fair enough. But with all due respect, I don't think that's really enough to make a good poem. I don't know much about the subject, but I mean, come on. There's a reason why men's poetry is what gets studied and taught, and women's poetry is just used for seduction. You need real sincerity. You need someone who actually understands love. It's titillating, sure, but it's crap. Anyway though, I guess you want to see the other poem that... yeah, sure. Right, of course, here, have it. If you found the last one arousing, well, it's not any good, but I'm sure you'll be entertained at least. Sorry I can't at least give you the one that was meant for a man, though. That's all the poetry for So-jin. She didn't seem to write down the one she did for anyone else, so that's all you can get. Okay. Pretty flower who could plant you, then abandon you in your bed. Each day I stop to admire your aroma. Will your gardener mind? Each night I pluck my own petals, but dream of yours in bloom. I'm sorry, what? Okay, sure. How's that for a verse? It's really not the translation. Yeah, I know. Wow. Okay, plucking your own petals, huh? That's cool. That's neat. I bet that wasn't what you were expecting from a noble wife, was it? I still have a hard time believing that she was really capable of sinking to that. But, well, it totally does get even better. I'll show you. Just be warned, it's pretty depraved stuff. We are getting into some scandalous situations now. Okay, Unsent Letter 2 by Hana. To my lovely So-jin, you made it so easy, you know that? I've always wanted to be seduced. The more I learned about it, the better I got at it. And the more I thought about how lucky men are, that they'll get on to be on the receiving end of it. It always seemed like it'd be so much fun. But that isn't why I dropped my guard in front of you, by the way. I was actually wary the whole time you were serving me breakfast. Do you know what I first thought? I thought maybe you were trying to poison me, sorry. I mean seriously, of course, but it crossed my mind. So no, I was really guarded until you started talking. You know what it was that got me? Do tell me, how hard is it studying to be a courtesan? I answered honestly. Oh, you know, there's nothing to learn. You just have it or you don't. The answer that any man would expect. But you? You wouldn't have any of that. You said please, don't lie. I actually want to know. It takes years, does it not? That must be intense for a girl of your age. Then you leaned in. I started to blab about how kind it is, how it kind of is pretty intense, and I've only realized an hour later that I was staring into your eyes, telling you, proudly no less, about my whole life story. Our faces were barely a foot apart by the time I noticed what you'd done. And that was how you caught me totally off guard. I had no idea what to do. Should I touch you? What's the right body language in this situation? Was I even interpreting you right, or was it all in my head? Not even the slightest clue. You had me good, and you played it so well. You know just the right moment to pull back, and tell me to go on my way, but in a way that left me wondering. So-jin, you made it so easy. Returning home, my heart was so aflutter, my feelings so confused, and all I could think about was you. You, the bored wife of my patron, actually managed to seduce me, just like that. I've always wanted to know that feeling, and you know, it was everything I dreamed it would be. Lovely. Unsent Letter 3. Oh, these people with their unsent letters. They're so long. How can anyone manage this? I do not know. Whenever I am with you, I feel as though there's so much pressure to be perfect, to not let you down. As if every hour of our being together is like marriage interview with an emperor. And yet I can't stand when you're gone. All I can think of all day is how I could hold your attention for next time. The night you stuck over, knowing my husband was out. I was so terrified. You just suddenly appeared on my doorstep, your face veiled as if you were a noble woman, and I knew I could hardly turn you away. Do you know why? For I immediately went to make you tea, to make you wait in the other room, to give me a chance to calm my nerves. I was surprised to realize you were just as nervous as I, so I knew I could take advantage of that. I put both cups on the same side of the table and sat cross-legged. Come, I said, sit with me, and gestured. You were so graceful in sitting on my lap, your small body just the right size, and I saw that even you couldn't help but blush, and so we drank tea together. But halfway through, you put your cup back down, and turned around, so you were facing me, our heads just inches apart. You whispered, forget about the tea, and clasped my free hand, your tiny fingers intertwined with mine. You kissed me, so softly. Up until that point, I've been so worried trying to figure out what I should do. Was I playing the man's role, or were you? But after smelling the scent of your breath and tasting the sweetness of your lips, how could I possibly ignore the passion, stirring enough to care about such things? I put down my cup and took you by the chin, gently pushing you away. Oh, What longing and certainty was in your eyes at that moment, beautiful Hana. I smiled as I stared back at them, intoxicated with the fact that I had you now literally under my thumb. I unclasped your hands and undid the bow of your blouse, watching your lips quiver as I pulled open the flap covering your small breasts. Running my fingers along the edge, I admired just how soft they were, so perfectly shaped. Are you sure? You started to ask? But I silenced you with a kiss that you were so eager for. You shivered as I enjoyed the taste of your mouth, and you were so very anxious when I stopped and turned you back around once more. Will you sing for me? I whispered into your ear. You nodded, and referring to your trade, I'd love to write you a poem, Sojin. I responded, putting my hand up your skirt. Your poetry is beautiful, but hardly what I meant. Then I clasped your breast with my spare hand, delved deep with the other, and held you so very tight while I admired the loveliness of your voice. Well then, what you got to say about that, Mute? Yeah. That one is just, wow. Anyway, I'll let you get back to reading. I don't blame you. Okay. Holy crap. So, we've got, some very interesting things going on. What about this one? You want more from her? Yeah, sure, I can do that. Here you go. This one in particular is just wow. Really wow. Yeah, it's super depraved. Man, it's also just, what a 16-year-old. Here, read it for yourself. Should I? Should we do one more? Or has it been too hot and heavy for one day? Alright, let's do it. How many pages is it? 3. Okay, that's not too bad. We'll read this one and then we're gonna be done for the day. You know what the first thing they teach you about in this role is? Of course you do. I told you all about it. The first thing they teach you is to never fall in love. Nobody to ever actually say, make sure you're in control. But that's the only way it'll ever work well. I'm supposed to be the one making people fall for me. Love is for men stupid enough to buy me out from the Emperor, not for me personally. I know exactly how you managed to do it, but Sojin, you got me all the same. You know, they teach us poetry because it's an appeal to men's vanity, and seems a little bit clever. It's a good way to hold on to them. Get them to keep paying. What the flattering kind sincerity never really factors in too much. An abandoned line from the one I've been trying to write for you. You grabbed my heart just as tightly as you grabbed my breast. Too trite, way too trite. It's true, but I'm not going to dump such a lousy metaphor on you. For you, you absolutely deserve sincerity. It has nothing to do with vanity, and everything to do with the fact that I really do totally love you. It's not sexual. I mean, it is sexual too. I still get hot thinking about how you had your way with me, and how I want to return the favor, but it's not just that. It's that you understand me, and you can listen to me. I can pour my heart out in front of you. I can cry in front of you, and you get it. You don't feel bad. You don't feel pity. You don't use it as an excuse to manhandle me. You just get it, and comfort me by being there and listening. I love you, Sojin. I'm not supposed to, but I really do. Oh, I love you. Wow. Just wow. You know, I kind of feel pity for her. She probably really did think that was actually love. Which is just, come on. How uneducated can you be? Anyway, I guess you want to see more now, right? That's really just the shocking details you've seen so far. Here's the part where things actually get scandalous. I've added 3 more entries. Interesting, but unfortunately, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this here because, like, yeah, so we got 3 more entries here for block 2, and we will definitely do those next time, but my reading abilities seem to suck today, so I'm really sorry. 35%? We went pretty good. Okay, we did really good. So yeah, we'll do that next time, and we will continue on from there. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens and why everything's so scandalous until the next time I read, and hopefully don't stumble across all the words. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys on the next MAMJ. Let's play. I control all the log-keeping systems on the Mugunhwa, I think, or at least what's left of them. Please, just excuse me for 1 second. I'll give you a terminal so you can respond. There you are. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Ellie? Ah, geez, my apologies. I don't know why, but what you type looked like garbage to me. That's bad. I think there may be a problem with my language parsing systems. Ah, Sorry, somehow your input is mangled between the terminal and me. I'm so terribly sorry. Let me just try something. Can you understand this? Yes.